That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
On to my favorite thing I read all week. This was so good. Oh my god, I had such a good week. There is nothing I didn't like. I mean, the Doctor Who book was just thoroughly alright, but not impressive. Everything else here I've been so enjoying. This has been a really good week. So this is the last book we're going to talk about this week, is Batman Earth 1 Volume 2 by Geoff Johns. And Geoff Johns has a questionable ability to write Batman, I think, but if we can get more stuff like this, keep going, Geoff. I think you're finally finding your voice for Batman. This is fun. This is just... It's got, 3 villains in it, basically. Riddler's your main villain, which is what it comes down to. And honestly, there are not enough good Riddler stories. And I have a small issue with Riddler in this, but I'll get to that later. It's entirely a personal... Well, 2 small issues, and they're entirely personal in nature. Everyone else should like it. It's just my particular take on Riddler. And I guess 3 villains isn't correct. There's really only 1 villain. There's just this, they're set up for another, and then the third isn't used as a villain, at least not yet. Like, not even kind of where it's setting up where we can tell he's gonna be a villain. He's, like, a good guy. So yeah, we have Riddler in this, who, like, he's used in very much what a lot of people were talking about him doing in the lead up before we knew what the hell, who was going to be in Dark Knight, before we knew if Dark Knight was really going to get a sequel, if who was going to be in it, villain-wise, and what the title was going to be. A lot of people were talking about, let's have Riddler be kind of like a Jigsaw-style serial killer, only instead of, making people do it to themselves or whatever, they have to answer riddles. That's his gimmick. And we kind of get that here. It's not exactly that. There's another level to it. It's not pure serial killerness, but it's still really clever. So he creates all these death traps, which is, what Riddler's always been known for. And his whole thing is, if they can answer the riddle, then I won't set off the trap, except he's lying. The whole setup of what he's doing is to make it look like it's something grander than it already is. There's misdirection in it. That's the word. There's a lot of misdirection. He's trying to make it look like some kind of horrific serial killer thing, terrorist attack nature kind of thing, like Joker and Dark Knight, for example. But it's not that. There's one specific target in each of the killings that he's doing. It's just he's covering that up by killing a lot more people, which is really clever stuff, and Batman's able to deduce that. Batman's becoming a little more of a detective. That becomes a big part of this, so that's clever. I forgot, they're set up for 3 villains get set up, and there's 1 villain in the book. But more so, this is just a book about corruption and what exactly is going on in the city, and who's responsible, and where the ideas of responsibility come from in Gotham, and who has to do what. There's a lot of Nolan in this, which is great. It really is Johns capturing Nolan, but still doing his own thing, which is, Johns is really good at having fun, and there's a lot of fun to be had in this book, in that, kind of like that murder mystery cop drama, serial killer horror movie kind of way. There's a lot of that going on here, which is a lot of fun. Geoff Johns is co-writing the Batman movie that Ben Affleck's in. I think he's either co-writing it or he's writing it. And if it's anything like this, it's gonna be fantastic. I thought Volume 1 was just okay. But now he's really getting his feet. He's really fighting his feet and voiced with Batman. I think it's going to be helpful that we're going to have a established Batman in the Man of Steel universe. And so you won't have to deal with an origin thing, and they can really just jump in wherever we want. And I don't know, it might be interesting to see, a Dark Knight Returns actually returned Batman. Because, you read Dark Knight Returns and the whole premise is, he makes Superman think he's killed him and blah, blah, blah. And then Dark Knight 2 is a flaming pile of... I don't even want to call it garbage because that would be an insult to garbage. But, obviously is a flawed work, to say the very least. And so we never really get what is Batman like once he's returned, once he's gone into retirement and come back. And that looks like what's going to be going on in Batman vs. Superman is Batman's come out of retirement for Superman. And then we're going to get a movie after that, so it looks like we're going to be we're going to get a Justice League movie and a Batman movie after that, so it looks like we're going to be dealing with in my mind at least, Batman's going to be a street-level hero until he comes back to deal with the Superman threat as he sees it, and then once they've reconciled their differences, he's going to evolve into the Bat God to deal with these global threats, because it's a threat to the world and it's a threat to Gotham. He cannot sit idly by and let someone else deal with it. He has to be involved. And so there's a lot of that kind of characterization of Batman in here. He just can't let himself sit anything out. He has to be a part of all of it, and that's really great. And Geoff Johns is really finding his voice for Batman, and it's really working. This is getting up to the this is clearly of the quality of everything Johns did with Blackest Night, or not Blackest Night, with Green Lantern up until Blackest Night. If you want to be a writer, write. That's what they always tell you. And Johns has gotten pen to paper over and over again. He's really improving his skills. So I am just so pleased with this. This is just great. I don't want to say too much about it because I just feel like you have to go out and read it for yourself to really get a grasp of what's working about it. Critical things wrong with it though. Let me talk about my Riddler thing. One, this is ridiculously small, and it's completely justified within the story itself, just a personal thing. Riddler uses what I guess I'd call internet riddles. You could look up the answers to these on the internet. You don't have to really think about them, or you could tell Johns didn't make them himself. I've heard all of the riddles he's used before, except for the last one, I think. I've heard all of the riddles before, and they're easy to know and they're easy to look up, so the answer is clearly there. But the, how does it put this? The riddles themselves are used in an interesting way, because what is done with them is they're really simple if you know riddles really well, but they're built around the situation. So, one of the riddles is what pours like purple paint, but smells like green paint and looks like white van, and the answer is white paint. Since it pours the same and smells the same, it just looks like a white van. And that's put in an art gallery and stuff, and they have to answer the riddle before they're lit on fire or whatever. And he only gives them a minute to answer it, so it's a no-win situation that he's put them into, put the people into. But it's still a really basic riddle, so the idea is that the level of stress is too high, but the situation around it, since they're in an art gallery and he's giving them a riddle about paint, it's doubly justified in that way. Even though the riddle itself is it's underwhelming. It's really an easy riddle that you can just go look up, but it's ultimately satisfying because of the situation built around it. It's good within the story itself. Otherwise, I'd be a little disappointed. But the story itself does justify the use of internet riddles, and there are 2 or 3 of them that, I've heard them before, I've solved them before. So that part's a touch. So that part is a touch, just disappointing or underwhelming, like I said. But ultimately, I do think that the riddles do work within the context of the story itself. So that it does work overall. Then the other thing for me with Riddler that kind of bothered me, and again, this is more just a personal thing. It's a new universe. You're allowed to change him in some ways because this version of him has been done. There are versions of him that have been done like this before. The riddles aren't pathological enough. Classic Batman thing was the Riddler would commit a crime, give a riddle, or put you in a situation where you had to answer a riddle to get out of it, and Batman would answer the riddle, and the trap would defuse, or the crime would be solved, or whatever. Johns in this decides instead to have him. He asks Batman a riddle, and he tells him that he'll stop a bomb from going off if Batman answers it correctly, and Batman does, but Riddler blows up the bomb anyway and kills a bunch of people. That's something, I'm not sure if it's a problem. It's not a problem with the story itself. Taken on its own, this is great. That is kind of contradictory to a number of versions of the character. It's not that Riddler hasn't been written that way before, but it's very rare for him to be written in that way. So that part is disappointing, for me at least. I don't know how other people felt about that. So, I don't love the depiction of Riddler in this, but it is well enough done. Done well enough that it's serviceable. And with everything else going around it, with Bruce's character, and the things he's dealing with the idea of what makes someone a hero, or what's really going to help Gotham, I feel like it's just, it's good enough to pass. I'd say this book would be an A+ if Riddler was done just a little bit better, but right now it stands probably a B+ or an A. But it's really good, guys. It's really good. Then there's the joke I promised to make. Hold on. So, I guess in the Earth 1 versions of the DC Universe, there's kind of a Rule 36, or whatever it is. There's like a reversal of gender rule for some characters. Because we have Alexander Luthor being the Lex Luthor of this universe. At least it's set up that way. And then we have, what's her name? Oh, man. Julia, maybe? I can't remember her name. It's a really brief scene. Jessica. We have Jessica Dent becoming the Two-Face of this universe instead of Harvey Dent, because Harvey dies immediately after having his face burnt. It's okay. I think it's funny that it happens in both volumes, that we have a different gendered character becoming the villain that we're gonna know. Looks like we have kind of like a like she takes on the personality of evil Harvey Dent's darker side when he dies. She gets that personality. She has DID suddenly kick in or something, which good storytelling, I guess. It's good drama, if nothing else. We'll have to see what's done with it as time goes on now. It looks like we might be getting that very distinct 2 completely separate personalities thing from Two-Face in this universe, and Two-Face being a woman. So that's a little like it's more just something for me to make fun of than anything else. It's just general silliness in Batman. Who would guess? And DC Comics for that matter. Harvey Dent's a bit of a dick in this. Not gonna lie. But yeah, we have Killer Croc here, who's used interestingly too, because he's not a bad guy. In the end, Batman wouldn't be able to defeat the Riddler if not for Killer Croc stepping in to help and beat him because he felt bad for what Riddler did to the people on the train that he blew up. I also have Catwoman getting set up. Great last page. I like that last page. We have Catwoman being set up. Batmobile's being set up as well. Don't know if you can hear the dog. I want to kill that dog. And Killer Croc is staying at Wayne Manor. Why not? But I love this exchange with Alfred. What am I supposed to do with this thing? What the hell does it eat? I eat food, old man. It's really funny. It's just Killer Croc is staying at Wayne Manor. Killer Croc is going to be the Robin of this universe. Yes! Make it a thing, Geoff Johns. I decree it. Okay, my silliness is getting to dangerous levels. So I think we're gonna call that it.
That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.